Hello, everybody. Today I was thinking of doing a poem called Haunted Houses by the American poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. So, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow taught in Harvard College, now it's known as Harvard University, and he was a teacher of the mystic philosopher Henry David Thoreau. He taught in Harvard around 1840, 1850, around that time. So, this poem, Haunted Houses, everyone knows the meaning of the word haunted. Haunted means occupied by ghosts or spirits. So, while we're reading this poem, must ask you to suspend your disbelief, not try to rationalize it too much and say, are there indeed things like ghosts? Are there indeed things like spirits? Where can we see them? It's all superstition. So we must suspend our disbelief and follow what the poet is saying. So we'll read the poem. All houses wherein men have lived and died are haunted houses. So the houses in which people live nowadays are haunted according to the poet. That is, the ghosts and spirits of the previous occupants still inhabit the houses of today. Through the open doors, the harmless phantoms on their errands glide with feet that make no sound upon the floors. So, through the open doors of the house, the harmless phantoms are spirits or ghosts, on their errands glide. Errands are small items of work which people do around the house, like cleaning the dishes, sweeping the floor, washing the clothes, eating, drinking. All these are called errands. So, just as a person behaves in life, so he behaves in the afterlife. Now, how can this be? You may ask. So, we can think of it like this. Suppose a person wakes up every day at 5 a.m. in the morning for a week, for 2 weeks. What will he do the next day? He will wake up at 5 a.m. So, it's a matter of habit, right? So, whatever habits we develop in life, whether good or bad, they will continue in the afterlife. So, the poet says that the errands which these departed spirits did while they were alive in their houses, they continue with their errands. They glide. They don't walk on the floor. They glide through the open doors of the house. And these spirits are harmless, according to the poet. So once again, you must remember that a poet like Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, he had an insight into what is beyond the superficial. So we see the walls, we see the ceilings, we see the floors, the doors and the windows. But the poet could see beyond what we see. He had a poetic insight into life. So he could not only sense, he could also see and hear what these spirits and ghosts were doing. So he continues, these harmless phantoms on their errands glide with feet that make no sound upon the floors. So when we walk on wooden floors, our feet will make a sound, a stomping sound, right? Thump, thump. Or when the harmless phantoms, when the harmless ghosts glide through the house, their feet make no sound upon the floors. So, second stanza is the poet says, we meet them at the doorway on the stair. Along the passages they come and go, impalpable impressions on the air, a sense of something moving to and fro. So the poet says, we meet them at the doorway of the house. We meet them at the doorway of the rooms of the house. We meet the ghosts on the stairs of the house. And all along the passages, the ghosts and departed spirits come and go on lit hall, the well lit, the brightly lit hall is thronged. THRONGED. Throng means it's crowded with quiet, inoffensive ghosts. So there is whole crowds of inoffensive spirits of the departed inhabitants of the houses, and they are as silent as the pictures on the wall. Because all houses have a couple of pictures on the wall. It can be an ancestor, or it can be of gods or saints. And these ghosts, they are silent as the pictures on the wall. The stranger at my fireside cannot see the forms I see, nor hear the sounds I hear. He but perceives what is, while unto me all that has been is visible unto me. So the stranger at the fireside of the poet's house. Okay, all houses in the West have a fireside because it's so cold there. The stranger at the fireside of the poet, he cannot see the forms the poet sees. He cannot see the ghosts or the spirits the poet sees. Nor can he hear the sounds that the poet hears. So the poet, Henry Wadsworth, Longfellow, has got a supersensory perception. Supersenses means the five senses. Supersensory means beyond the five senses, a spiritual sense. And the poet can sense with his supersensory senses the sights and sounds of the ghosts and spirits. The stranger, says the poet, he perceives or sees what is. He sees the fireside, he sees the brightly lit fire, he feels the warmth, he sees the candles on the shelf, he sees the sofas, he sees what is. But the poet, what does he see? He sees all that has been. Has been is a verb in the present perfect tense. So the present perfect tense shows an action which is started in the past and continues up to the present, right? So whatever has been going on in that house since the house was built, since the first inhabitant of the house lived there, all that has been is visible and clear to the poet, right? So next stanza, the poet says, we have no title deeds to house or lands, owners and occupants of earlier days, from graves forgotten stretch their dusty hands, and old in mortally still their old estates. So when the poet says, we of the present generation, we say that we own property, we say we have the title deeds to a property, we say we have this or that official certificate, but in reality, the poet says we have no title deeds to house or lands to any such property, because the owners and occupants of earlier days, from graves forgotten stretch their dusty hands. So the owners and occupants of the present property, the present generation of property in the present past generation, the owners of the property in the past generations, they still stretch their dusty hands, and they were the owners and occupants in the past. While they are now living in the grave, they still stretch out their hands as if to possess their property, which once belonged to them. So as I said, this idea, this thing of property, it belongs to the oldest and longest history of man. So before the Egyptian civilization, before the Greek civilization, before the Roman civilization, people used to sell, barter, trade, and borrow, right? So the business of money is as old as civilization itself. So it's a part of the psyche of the people of today. To sell some things, to buy some things, to barter with some things, to trade. this world of sense, around what we can see, around what we can hear, around what we can taste, touch, and smell, around this world, all around this world, encompassing it, surrounding it, is the spirit world, according to the poet. And this spirit world floats like an atmosphere. Just as the atmosphere floats above us, the spirit world floats around this world of sense. And everywhere wafts through these earthly mists and vapors, there is a vital breath of more ethereal air. Wafts means, so the word wafts, WAFTS, it means that something, if you light incense stick, if you light an agarbatti, the perfume will waft through the whole house, right? So, just as the perfume from the agarbatti wafts through the whole house, right? Through the earthly mists and vapors of the earth, right? A vital breath of more spiritual air wafts through our lives, right? So, through the earthly mist, the mist is like a cloud. So, when it rains, you can see mist, and sometimes when you go to the countryside, you can see dense vapors. Through all these noisome, perhaps they're noisome, mists and vapors, the spiritual air of the spirit world wafts, it floats through our lives. So the poet continues, next stanza. Our little lives are kept in equipoise by opposite attractions and desires. The struggle of the instinct that enjoys and the more noble instinct that aspires. So our little lives are kept in equipoise. Equipoise means equilibrium. How are we kept in equilibrium? By opposite attractions and desires. So we have desires, we have wants, we have wishes. So, for example, one of our wants is to eat, another of our wants is to drink. So when we are hungry, we eat. When we are thirsty, we drink water, right? So our little lives are kept in equilibrium by opposite hunger and fulfilling eating. Hunger and eating, they are two opposite attractions and desires. Feeling thirsty and drinking water, these are two other opposite desires. Our little lives are kept in equipoise by opposite attractions and desires. So when we satisfy these desires, our instincts, when our instincts are satisfied, we enjoy ourselves. Suppose we eat a good plate, a good meal. When we are hungry, we enjoy satisfying the instinct of hunger. But some people have a more noble instinct. That is, they aspire to things like creating something, right? Creation. So poets, artists, and writers, and even scientists, they create things, right? So this is a more noble instinct. They have a desire, an innate wish within them to create something. So this more noble instinct, which aspires to create, that also keeps our little lives in equilibrium, right? These perturbations, this perpetual jar of earthly wants and aspirations, right, come from the influence of an unseen star, an undiscovered planet in our sky. So you see, if given a choice, we would rest permanently, right? If we were fed by someone, if we were clothed by someone, if we had a place to stay, we'd never move. We'd relax throughout our life. But what are we supposed to do? What is everyone supposed to do? He's supposed to move, he's supposed to act, he's supposed to do things. So that is a perturbation. Perturbation is like a disturbance. So these perturbations, these feelings of hunger, thirst, tiredness, all of which have to be satisfied. These perturbations, this perpetual jar. Jar means like if someone comes and hits you on your back, high aspirations, right? So all these perturbations, this perpetual jar of earthly wants and aspirations, high, where do they come from? So how does a person feel that he should achieve this or that? Maybe he's told by the people around him, or maybe he's told by his parents or his teacher that you must achieve. But how exactly does he sustain that desire to achieve? It comes, says the poet, from the influence of an unseen star, an undiscovered planet in our sky. So this insight of the poetry, you know that the moon is waves of the ocean. There's high tide and low tide, and we are 70% water. Just as the ocean is made up of water, we are also made up of 70% water. So it is probable that we will also be influenced by the moon, and it's also probable that we'll be influenced by the planets, just as they say in astrology. All the 8 planets, the 9 planets, in fact, the whole of creation is influencing us. So how does a person sustain his high aspirations? How does a person satisfy his earthly wants? They come from the influence of an unseen star. We don't know which star it is. Maybe a particularly skillful astrologer might tell us this is the star that is causing you to behave in this way, and this is the vacation that this is the way it has to be calmed down, and so on and so forth. But it is quite impossible to say how all throughout all our lives how we can pacify the influence of these unseen stars and undiscovered planets in our sky. So according to the poet, our whole lives are directed by the influence of the heavenly objects, the celestial objects like the planets, like the moon, like the moons of the planets, and so on, right? So next, and as the moon from some dark gate of cloud throws over the sea a floating bridge of light, across whose trembling planks our fancies crowd into the realm of mystery and night, so from the world of spirits there descends a bridge of light connecting it with this, over whose unsteady floor its risen waves wander our thoughts about the darkness. Now these are the last 2 stanzas of the poem. So here, in the last 2 stanzas, the poet connects the spiritual world with the physical world. So what are the images that he uses to connect the physical world with the spiritual world? He uses first the image of moonlight. Just as the moon on a dark night behind some cloud, it throws over the earth, it throws over the sea a floating bridge of light. So just as the moonlight floats, lights up the atmosphere over the sea, right? A floating bridge of light across whose trembling planks our fancies go. So across the planks of the bridge, across the wooden pieces of the bridge, our desires, our wants, our wishes also come to the spiritual world, right? And how are we going to satisfy all our desires? How are we going to satisfy all our wants? How are we going to live a happy life without any wants or misery? That is a mystery. So that is a realm of mystery and night. We simply don't know. So it's like night. It's like the darkness of the night. So just as the moonlight throws light over the sea and on our lives, so from the world of spirit which surround this earth, there descends a bridge of light. So from the spirit world also, there is a ray of light that connects the spirit world with the physical world. And what is the physical world like? It has an unsteady floor, according to the poet. Unsteady means we simply cannot decide what will happen. We can at best try our, try to do what we can to achieve the goals we want. But who will say what the result will be? After all, you must remember the proverb, man proposes and God disposes. So our whole lives are set upon an unsteady floor, and this life of ours sways and bends, and our thoughts wander over the dark abyss. Abyss means it is a chasm, it is a gap, it is a gulf. The whole world is spinning in space. The whole world is spinning in an abyss. So while we think that our lives, our physical bodies are steady, actually our whole lives are set. We are walking upon unsteady floors, and the floor sways and bends, and our lives are beset round with the darkness of ignorance, or it's like the darkness of night. So the spirit world throws light from it. The spirits throw light from their world onto this, and maybe if we pacify them, if we placate them, if we offer them, things like puja and so on, and which are found in the traditional uh, rituals and customs of religion, if we pacify the ancestral spirits, if we pacify them, they may be placated and they may help us. And from the world of spirits, they may descend a bridge of light which is helpful to us on earth. Okay? So that is the poem Haunted Houses by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Thank you.